Good afternoon, YouTube. Intergalactic Brew here. Um, I just thought of, something in my mind that I needed to get out. And I've been watching um, a few of these other UFC 142 predictions. And, you know, I just feel like there's just a couple of fights that I really need to break down and really need to explain to everyone out there of why I picked the fight, and kind of give people, or you guys I should say, what am I talking about, people, give you all, just a technical outlook on why I picked the fighters that I picked to win, and why I feel that the opposing fighter in the fight can possibly win also. So, once again, I'm about to do what I like to call George's Logic. Now, everybody knows George is my real name. So, basically, on rare occasions, when it comes to mine, I do rare videos just giving a technical perspective on certain fights, and why I think, whoever, if it's a championship fight, why I think the champion's going to win, and why I think the challenger has a chance of winning, and what it's going to take for both fighters to win. So here we go. It's another George's Logic video, and let's get to it. The first fight I want to break down is Anthony Johnson versus Vitor. Now, if y'all watched my previous video, I said that Vitor Belfort would win this fight. Okay, now let's just look at Vitor himself and why I picked Vitor to win the fight. Okay, number one, we all know, obviously, Vitor has the fastest fist in MMA and the UFC, period. Okay, number two, he's got the speed. Number three, he has the experience. Now, the last element of his concerns me, and that is his conditioning, because we know over time Vitor has not been the one that has had the best cardiovascular conditioning. But in recent years, meaning 2009 through 2012, he has improved that. He's been taking, I believe, yoga, I believe he said. He's on a whole nother different training regimen now than he was before. He's doing different things to not overhydrate himself. He's doing a lot more stretching and a lot more calisthenics nowadays. He's changed up his diet. So all of those things can really pay off for him in this fight more than they have in recent fights. And I think because back then why his conditioning was so down is because, he was going through a phase in his life anyway, and he just really didn't care, and he kind of just, threw himself away. But I think now that he's got himself back together spiritually as well as psychologically, I think he's realized again the importance of taking care of your body. So I think with, this new philosophy on him improving his conditioning, I think that's going to pay dividends for him Saturday and fights beyond. Now, as far as the hand speed is concerned, now, people, let's not be what's the word? Let's not be naive here, okay? Vitor Belfort still has the fastest fist in the UFC. I mean, you've seen it. You saw how he was able to put Rich Franklin's lights out. You saw what he did to Akiyama, put his lights out. So, I'm just saying, anybody out there that is doubting the hand speed of Vitor Belfort, you really need to go back and look at his last couple of fights, and even, just his fights over his career. Vitor can end the fight in an instant with the snap of a finger. This fight could be over with before you can even blink your eye. His hands are that fast. Okay? So I just don't want anybody to forget that. All right? Vitor Belfort still has the fastest hands in mixed martial arts. And then on top of that, with his speed, people think because, he's getting up there in age, which he is, like I just was talking about just now, about his conditioning philosophy. Vitor Belfort is still in great shape, even at his age. And people out there are just going to have to realize that. Now, all the knowledgeable MMA fans, of course, they already know this. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking to the casual fans and those that might be uneducated on just how Vitor's speed is still complementary even at this point in his life or in his career or whatever. But yeah, Vitor's still fast. He's still got moves. He's still got good footwork. He's still got good head movement. So Anthony Johnson is going to have to respect that. I mean, size doesn't matter always in competition. I mean, it matters to a certain extent, but it doesn't matter all the time. Sometimes it comes down to different components that you can bring into a competition, like, for instance, speed. So Vitor is still extremely fast, and Anthony Johnson is going to have to recognize that if he's going to want to win the fight. So I just thought I'd just give those pointers out about Vitor. Now, let's move on over to Anthony Rumble Johnson. Now, Anthony Rumble Johnson is, like I said before in the video, is going to cut, a good chunk of weight. I mean, even though it might be just 12 pounds or whatever, it's still a huge amount. I mean, with any transition that you do in mixed martial arts, as far as, moving up or down in weight divisions, it's going to be hectic. And I hope Anthony Johnson is not naive to the fact that, okay, because he's a naturally big guy and, his frame is naturally big, that this won't affect him. It still can affect him. I mean, still can affect him. and like I said on my MMA show a couple of days ago, I said that there had been a history, as you all know, in MMA of these massively physical specimens that have, been affected by weight cuts. I mean, Thiago Alves, look at him, prime example, got busted twice for being overweight. I believe Anthony Johnson has been busted once for being overweight. I think when he fought Yoshida, when was that? Back in 2009, he was overweight. Okay, I can't think of anybody off top, but it was another fight that just recently happened where a guy came in too much overweight. So it can be effective. So I hope Anthony Johnson has realized that, and I hope that, he's smart enough to realize that, hey, I might have an adrenaline dump in this fight. Even though he thinks he could still win, which is fine, I'm just saying he just needs to be aware of, you know, what's going on. So, you know, the weight cut is going to be a problem. You know, and it's a possibility that Anthony Johnson could get tired. Oh yeah, now that I think about it, another fight was Josh Koscheck. There you go. He was overweight for that fight, and it cost him. So, you know, Johnson, like I said, man, you know, he really needs to you know, be cautious about this whole situation. But enough of that. As far as the fight goes, I mean, Anthony Johnson, I think, is gonna really need to take Vitor Belfort down. I mean, that's just the whole thing. I mean, sure, you know, he could try and stand up with Vitor, and I'm not saying that, you know, he can't catch Vitor, because he can. Vitor is not, you know, invincible. You know, he is vulnerable to getting knocked out. I mean, look what happened in the Anderson Silva fight. Nobody saw that coming. You know, but that just goes to show you. And then on top of that, you know, that's Anderson Silva. You know, no disrespect to Anthony Johnson, but, you know, that's just the truth. But Anthony Johnson, I think, in order for him to win this fight, is going to have to take Vitor down and really test Vitor's conditioning and see how much Vitor can last on the ground, and if Vitor can even attempt to submit him off of his back. You know, we might be forced to see Vitor, you know, use the jiu-jitsu here, because I know at some point Anthony Johnson is going to want to look to get on top of this guy and beat him up and wear him out. I know that. I know that. But, you know, then again, if Anthony Johnson can't get past that speed, you know, and when Vitor starts, you know, blasting off, you know, with those cannons, then, you know, Anthony Johnson's going to be in trouble. And I still believe that's what will eventually end up happening. I just got that feeling for some reason. So, yeah, that's basically my logic on the Anthony Rumble Johnson Vitor Belfort fight. Now, going on to the main event of the evening, Jose Aldo versus Chad Mendes. Here's the thing, okay? I've heard a couple of people on YouTube saying that Mendes could possibly pull the upset here, and he could upset Aldo in Brazil. He could, because, you know, I was listening to E-Dubs just a few minutes ago, and he made some very good points, and I did not realize this. So thank you, E-Dubs, for opening my eyes to something that I did not see. Jose Aldo has been known to start slow in his fights. I never realized that, but yeah, now that I look back on it, Jose Aldo does not get off to a quick start. He does not press the action, and that could come back to haunt him in this fight. And if I was Jose Aldo, I would use the same strategy that he used against Uriah Faber. As soon, you know, as the referee says fight, come meet Mendes in the center of the octagon and immediately go to work with those leg kicks. I think that's what he needs to do. I think he needs to start off fast with the leg kicks and see how Mendes handles that. Now, at the same time, that's, you know, kind of like putting himself into the fire too, because Mendes could easily catch one of those legs and just, you know, drive him down to the mat and do his damage from there. So Aldo, you know, he needs to get in and out with the leg kicks, I think, and use that to set up the combinations with the punches or the knees or the elbows or whatever other tie strikes that he wants to use. But I like that analysis that E-Dubs gave in his video, and I really think that's what Aldo needs to do if he's going to win this fight. Is I think he needs to get off to a quick start, and I think if he can do that, he could possibly take Mendes out of it early. But then again, he has to respect the wrestling of Mendes too. So yeah, and I'm not saying that just because Aldo training with Gray Maynard guarantees him a win, I think it'll help. It'll help tremendously because Maynard himself, he's a big guy, and he's pretty fast, and he's got good takedowns, good shots, and he's good at controlling guys on the mat. He's a very dominant wrestler, and when you train with somebody like that, that can help you if you're looking to take him down, which I don't know if Aldo will or not. He might. He could surprise him and take him down possibly, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. But Aldo definitely needs to start fast, though. He definitely needs to start fast. And as far as the Brazilian audience is concerned, that will give him a slight advantage. But I think that Mendes will be able to fight with that. I think he won't let that phase him, because from what I've seen, just hearing Mendes talk, he's a very driven individual. So, I don't think he'll be phased by the crowd. But like I said, if Aldo does not get off to a quick start in this fight and use those leg kicks, then Mendes is going to take this guy down. And I think if he takes him down, I think he can keep him there, and I think he can beat him up, and I think he can pull out a close decision win for the upset and take the title. So Aldo needs to be very wary of that. I think he does. And as for Mendes, I think Mendes, all he needs to do really is just press the action. I think he needs to press the action and just, keep Jose Aldo on one side of the cage, cut the cage off, like I stated in my previous video. I think Mendes just needs to cut the cage off, keep it in his corner of the cage. If he could keep him on his corner of the octagon, Chad Mendes will be fine. If he, can clinch Aldo early and often, and use that dirty boxing and knees from inside that Greco-Roman clinch, and take Aldo down, and just start pounding them with elbows and punches, I think Mendes can win the fight. I really think he has like a 80% chance of winning this fight. I really do. Although for some reason I still think Aldo's gonna find a way to win, but I'm giving Chad Mendes a chance, and I will not be surprised if he wins the title. I won't. It will be no shock to me, because I believe that he has the athleticism, the speed, and the wrestling to ground Jose Aldo. I really do. I mean, sure, Aldo's been training with Gray Maynard, that's fine, but this is the fight. I mean, it's different when you're training, but the fight is a whole lot different. So, I definitely think Mendes can take the title. But like I said, for Mendes, cut the octagon off, keep him on your side of the cage, and clinch him, take him down, and beat him up. As for Aldo, fast start with the strikes, and see if you can take Mendes out of it early. So there you go. That's George's logic. I'll probably do this on another rare occasion, but until then, enjoy the fight Saturday, and I'll see you later.